making double glazing more transparent. We'll look at the industry's promise to give us more protection with Tony Pickup. We spend over £1 billion a year on double glazing, and it's claimed some of that money is handed over when it shouldn't be. The consumer group Which says some double glazing salespeople, make dodgy and misleading claims and apply improper pressure to get us to sign on the dotted line. Well, Tony Pickup is here. He's the founder of the Double Glazing and Conservatory Ombudsman Scheme. Tony, welcome to the programme. In fact, we covered the launch of the scheme a few months ago, and I think at the time I would have questioned its independence and its toughness. So let me start with that right away. How independent are you?
The scheme is, the Ombudsman himself is completely independent of the scheme and of its members. He is not on the management committee or the board of directors of the Ombudsman scheme. He's a qualified lawyer and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. And the only interaction that he has directly with the members of the scheme is in a dispute resolution capacity.
Well, I'm glad you've had that opportunity to set the record straight, and I apologise if I may have misunderstood it first time around. What teeth do you have? Because you can force a settlement on member companies.
Quite the contrary, actually, Declan, we can do. There's various mechanisms that the Ombudsman has at his disposal. He can expel a member, he can investigate complaints to various levels, he can appoint mediators, independent inspectors. All these services are completely free of charge now to consumers. And he can make what he calls specific performance awards and ask a contractor to go back and do various things on behalf of the client, or make a compensatory award, all of which are legally binding on both parties.
Yes, binding on both parties, but only if the company has actually volunteered to join the scheme in the first place. What's there to protect people who are dealing with companies that aren't a member of your scheme?
Well, there are various trade bodies available with varying degrees of investigation capacities. Most of them, or some of them, have optional conciliation processes. Now, where they fall short is very often they cannot make a legally binding judgment upon their members. The worst case scenario usually is they can revoke membership. Now, that's okay to maybe protect the brand of that trade association, but for a consumer's perspective, if that organisation's had his badge took off him, he might go and buy another badge from elsewhere, and you're left to go down the normal routes of paying for inspectors and maybe lawyers to fight your case, or maybe go to the county court. Now, all that is taken away with this new scheme. If you use Ombudsman scheme accredited members, the whole process is free of charge, and you know you're going to use a good company in the first place.
Okay. And you heard what I said there, those comments from Which, talking about some people in the business still up to sharp practice. You're never going to be able to stamp that out completely, are you?
No, not whilst the Ombudsman scheme is an optional voluntary scheme. Unless the government changes legislation and makes it a mandatory requirement, consumers still then have to make considered purchasing decisions.
Okay, Tony, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.